I've been to California a few times, okay? And I've heard this is something extreme. I heard, and I can't remember what city it is. I think I'm gonna check into that, but I don't remember the city. But there's some people living in caves in California. Now, well, welcome back, family. How are you doing today? Drop me a comment. Let me know how you're doing and where are you watching from, please. For me, I'm doing pretty good. But I do have some concerns, because I'm finding this information just eye-opening. This is some eye-opening information. Have you noticed, guys, wherever you're living in America, wherever you live in the U.S., have you noticed that there is a rise on homelessness? Have you noticed? I've noticed. Sometimes, I can a short drive. I can see there's this young homeless couple with a dog that I see them, on a regular basis. I do. So I've noticed that there is an increase, and there's definitely an increase of homelessness. Have you noticed that wherever you live in the U.S.? Drop me a comment. Have you noticed an increase in homelessness? I have. Now, there's a term that's going on that people are using. It's called I think it's called the unhoused. Meaning that they don't have a home. Whether it's homeless or unhoused, I just find it alarming. It definitely has me on guard because it makes me feel like this could happen to anyone, including me, at some point in my life. Because I'm seeing such an increase in homelessness. So drop me a comment, guys. Let me know, what's your thoughts on the increase in homelessness here in the U.S. What's your thoughts? Let's talk about it. Drop me some comments, please, guys, because I'm really concerned. Whether it's East Coast all the way to the West Coast, from New York all the way to California, I've noticed an increase in homelessness. And I'm originally from New York, and I go back from time to time, and all my family's there, so I know what's going on in New York. So I've been hearing about the homelessness or the unhoused in New York also. I've heard about it. So I'm just really concerned. I'm really concerned, especially when I see kids involved. I'm really concerned when I see homeless couple, especially with a child or two, obviously homeless. That's very concerning to me, very concerning. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know, what are you seeing? What are you experiencing where you live, if you're in the U.S. And as a matter of fact, wherever you live in the world, have you noticed, is there an increase in homelessness where you live? Wherever it is, drop me a comment, please. Because these are things we have to talk about. We have to talk. We need to talk about these things. I've even heard, now here it is. Now, I've heard about this in California, and I've been to California a few times, okay? And I've heard this is something extreme. I heard, and I can't remember what city it is. I think I'm gonna check into that, but I don't remember the city. But there's some people living in caves in California. Now, California people, listen, just like I can Google things and I can do my YouTube search. You go right ahead and do it too, because I've heard it, and I've actually seen videos on people living in caves in California. I don't remember what city it is, but it's occurring. And here's the thing, we've got to know what's going on in our state. If I'm all the way here in Georgia and I'm knowing what's happening in California, if you live in California, Google it yourself, do a YouTube search yourself, and you can see for yourself, okay? These extreme things are happening. They are happening, and we just need to be aware of what's going on. And I think we need to be aware. That's how I feel. So I like to inform people. I like to encourage people. I like to inspire people. That's just how I think, guys. That's just me. All right. So listen, I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but I can think of a couple of reasons, how does a person get to homelessness? Okay. So because I'm in real estate, I'm a real estate broker. I've told you this before. I can think of a couple of reasons how a person, how a family can actually, the end of the road can be homelessness. Okay. For me, what I've seen is, time and time again, working with my clients who want to buy a house, and they're just wanting this big house, this big 5-bedroom house, but yet the mortgage payment is, well over $2,000 here in the US. Okay. That's a lot of money, because if one person loses their job, automatically that's affecting the family tremendously. Remember, a number of years back, we had that real estate crash where, my God, I mean, volumes of people across the U.S., lost their house to foreclosure. So I think a lot of it has to do with, maybe perhaps, buying a house that's too big, that's too expensive, that's too costly, like the maintenance on the house is costly, the taxes on the house is too high. I think these are some of the things that lead up to homelessness. Okay. And of course, at the top of the list, income. If there's a shift in income, you lose your job. If a person loses their job, they can lose their house really quick here in the US. If you agree with that, drop me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts on that, because I've seen it over and over. Okay. And if a person loses their job, things go downhill, things get chaotic really fast. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Okay, please. So yeah, I'm always trying to help, a person, whether it be an individual, a family, what have you, whether it be US or somewhere else, in the world. Okay. And my passion is children. Okay. So I like to work with children. I like to give back to children. And it's just one of the things that I do to try to make a difference in this world that we live. So I'm going to drop a clip in this video, some of the things that I do in terms of homelessness, because homelessness looks different in different parts of the world. So for example, the work that I do in Africa, okay, I like to work with orphanages where basically the kids are homeless. They're orphans, their parents have died, etc., and there's no family member to care for them. So I like to give back to orphanages, in Africa, and I've got a project going on in Kenya right now. I'll drop a clip right here. But anyway, getting back to the U.S.
Nalas, Johnny, we love you. Thank you and bye bye.
Thank you.
See you. Yeah, thank you.
I think homelessness, happens quite quickly, okay, and sometimes quite unexpectedly. Let me know what you think about that, okay, please. For me, here's how I personally avoid homelessness, okay, because I think it can happen to anybody, any family. I think it can happen. Hard times can happen. For me, I try to keep my expenses as low as possible. Especially the number one expense is your mortgage or your apartment, your living expense, the roof over your head. I always try to keep that as low as possible. Okay. Yeah, I do. So, that's how I avoid homelessness. Okay. I also like to live in a small space. Okay. A big house is not for me. I had one at one time and I gladly gave it up. I did. Drop me a comment, guys. Did you have a big house at one point in your life, and did you sell it? Did you get rid of it? And did you move on to more manageable things? Drop me a comment about that, please, because I did. Wanted to sometime in the future, I'm going to do a video on tiny houses, because I'm a believer in tiny house living. If you're into that, drop me a comment on that too. Okay. So listen, here in America, and people, living somewhere outside of America, there's forever talk about the American dream. So my question is this, what happens to the American dream, or what happened to the American dream when a person and when a family has become homeless? That's my question. I'd like to know. So, what I think is this, the American dream, or the success of an individual or a family here in America, here in the U.S., it is still achievable, but it's even more challenging now than ever. We are in 2024, and I think the American dream is even more challenging. When I hear stories and which facts, like for example, in California, okay, there's this thing called co-living. I described it to you in my last video, where there's, for example, 4 strangers living in one room, living, let's say, in a bunk bed environment, okay? It's real. It's happening in California. You look for it yourself, because I know it's out there, all right? I've seen news clips on it, and I've seen YouTube videos on it as well. Co-living, that's a nice dressed up word. And I'm talking about adult people my age, who are doing this type of co-living. And again, it's described as, let's say, 4 people living in a bunk bed environment room, sharing space in a house, etc. So there's no discrimination on age, okay? There's no discrimination on the fact that, okay, that person is actually employed. The information that I've seen, these are working people, all right? So for example, $20 an hour, let's say a person's making $20 an hour somewhere in the US, okay? That person can still be homeless, because that might not be, more than likely is not enough to take care of their monthly needs, meaning keeping a roof over their head, an apartment, okay, their own private space. A lot of people, of course, they're turning to living in the cars. So that's why I'm actually doing this video right now in my car, just to highlight the fact that more and more people are homeless, and more people are living in their cars, their vehicles. Check out the local Walmart wherever you live. Drive in the evening time when it gets dark, etc., to your local Walmart. I want you to notice, in the dark areas, let's say in the somewhat secluded parking areas of Walmart, you're going to notice cars, vans, okay, and their windows are all, blacked out or covered or what have you. That's people living in their vehicles somewhere here in the U.S., all across the U.S., in your local Walmart. So I know what I'm talking about in terms of homelessness, because when I drive around, I'm alert. I'm paying attention to what's going on in my environment, and also I do my research. So you check it out also, all right? And let me know. And maybe you've already noticed that in Walmart, there is definitely an increase of people living in their vehicles across the U.S. Let me know. Have you noticed it? And they're also living in the vehicles, sometimes with their pets, because I'm a pet lover too, so I could totally understand if they're living in their vehicle, their pet is going to be in the vehicle with them. So it's happening. Let me know. Have you noticed it? And what's your comments? Drop me a comment, please. Okay. So listen, I've noticed, like, for example, in states, whether it be Florida, California, the Sunshine States, okay, paradise states, let's say, also an increase in homelessness. Have you noticed it in Florida too? Do you live in Florida? Where in Florida do you live? Have you noticed? Drop us some comments, please. Have you noticed an increase in homelessness where you live across the U.S.? Let me know. Have you noticed an increase in homelessness? I'd like to know. So whether they call it unhoused or whether they call it homeless, it's the same thing. It's talking about a person or family, okay, that does not have their own living space, an apartment, a room, shared space, what have you. They don't have it for many reasons. And a lot of the times, they're not making enough money. There's, what do they call it? The employed homeless. So you can be employed and still be homeless because you're not making enough money. If you can relate to that, drop me a comment, because I'm seeing it more and more. I am. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. I find homelessness painful. I try to reach out and help the individuals that I come in contact with, whether it be information or some type of donation. I try to reach out and help, but the most powerful thing that I can actually do is actually try to raise awareness, and that's what I do with my YouTube channel. I try to inform people. I try to let you guys know, what I'm seeing, what I'm noticing, what I've researched, etc. So help me out, guys. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, please subscribe, please join the family, because I'm always going to give you facts, guys. All right, I'm not going to make up a story. I'm going to give you facts. Yeah, guys, so let me know what your thought is on this particular topic, the homeless, the unhoused. Is there an increase where you live? I'd like to know. I really would. So guys, listen, this is Nala. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, listen, please subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.